let's talk about blood typing. Okay, there are only 4 main types of blood. You have type A, type B, type A, B, and type O. And then you have the negatives and the positives of those types. Now, why is A called A and B called B and AB is called AB and so on? Because on the red blood cell for type A, you have an antigen that is an A-type antigen. And on B blood, you have the B antigen. And then on AB, you have both the A and the B. And type O blood has neither the A nor the B. Now, the antibodies that you will find in type A blood will be the B antibodies. The antibody we'll find in type A or type B blood is the A antibodies. These symbols just mean antibodies. And you will not find either the A or the B antibody on type AB blood. On type O blood, you will find both the A antibody and the B antibody. Okay? So these are all negative. So this is A negative, this is B negative, this is AB negative, and this is O negative. Now, where do the antibodies come from and what do antigens mean? A good study of the immune system will talk more in depth about those things, but for right now, let's just say that if someone has the A antigen, they have the B antibody, except for the AB. If you have an antigen on your red blood cell, you will not have that antibody in your plasma. Okay? So, now these are all Rh negative. I should say Rh negative. These people are Rh positive. Now the difference between negative and positive is these people, these type A people, have the A antigen. The B's still have the B. We all still have the same antigens. Now, the difference is, of course, the antibodies will be the same as well. And then A, B. The difference is on the red blood cell you will see now the Rh positive, we call that the D antigen. So these will have the D antigen. The D antigen is what makes blood positive. Okay? So, with all of these antibodies and antigens floating around, how can we tell if a donor can donate to a specific receiver? For example, could someone with AB blood give blood to someone with A blood? Or can someone with B blood receive from someone with O blood? And in order to make that determination, you have to look at the receiver's antibodies. For example, we got type A blood here. This person is our receiver. If someone with B blood donates to someone with A blood, the B antibody will react with the B antigen, and it won't be good. What's going to happen is the B antibody will attach itself to this, and there's a chain reaction that happens, and the term is called agglutination. You'll get like a blood clot, and it won't be good, probably resulting in death. All right? So it's the antibody of the receiver that would match up or not match up with the antigen of the donor. So, for example, someone with type A blood, A negative, receiving AB blood, the same thing would happen. This B antibody would react with that B antigen right there and cause agglutination. All right? Now, we're not worried about the antibodies from the donor reacting, okay? The antibodies get taken out of the equation from the donor. So let's take a look at something that would happen with somebody who received type O blood. All right, so let's say that this A positive person received O blood. Now, the one thing that you'll hear about is universal donors and universal receivers. The O negative blood is the universal donor. Well, let's take a look at why. Because it doesn't matter what antibody the receiver has, there's no antigen on O negative blood to react at all. So this person can donate to anyone. All right? So let's take a look at what we call the universal receiver. So the universal receiver is the AB positive person, because this person has no antibodies in their plasma. Well, at least not antibodies against the antigens on the blood anyway. So this person can receive blood from anyone. Now, where does this line come from? So what we have here is we've got RH negative sensitized. So these people are sensitized. So what does that mean? So by nature, sort of, I don't really want to say it's not magical or anything. There is a reason why people with type A blood develop the B antibody, and the reason why type B people develop the A antibody. It happens quite early in life, I think 6 months to a year. There are bacteria that are naturally found in food and other things that mimic the B antigen and the A antigen. They're quite harmless, but if your body takes in anything that's not itself, it will develop an antibody for it. Look to study the immune system to get more in depth on that. I don't really want to get too in depth on this for that. Just know that if someone is type A, they will have the type B antibody, and if someone is type B, they will have the A antibody. So let's say we have this person right here who is A negative, so they start out like this. And at first, they do not naturally have an antibody for the D antigen. So if this person who is Rh negative receives positive blood, so let's say it's an A negative person receiving A positive blood, this D antigen is not part of that person. So whenever you take in something that is not what we would call self, you will develop an antibody for it. So eventually what's going to happen is this person can receive that type of blood one time, and then they will become sensitized. In other words, they will develop the D antibody. And this person who has the A antibody naturally, once they receive positive blood, of course the other antigens react as well. You still can't receive A blood, but he could receive B positive. They will develop the D antibody. And so the A, B, they would then have the D antibody, and then the O. So someone who is O negative sensitized is kind of in a rough shape if they have to get blood, because that's the only kind of blood that they can get. Because anything else will react with one of these antibodies. So if you're O negative, then everybody loves you because you can give them blood. But when it comes time for you to receive blood, you're kind of stuck with only your own type. because that's the only kind you can receive. So these people have been sensitized to the D antigen, and now they have the D antibody. So if these people here receive any kind of positive blood after they've been sensitized, then that D antibody will react with the antigen. All right, so that's how we determine who can receive what types of blood. So the AB positive person has no antibodies in their system, so they can receive anything. So if this person is in need of blood, they can get it from anyone. Now, they can only donate to people who are AB positive, or at least maybe AB negative if they haven't been sensitized. But I don't think that if you were in the hospital, if you were AB negative, I don't think that they would give you AB positive blood. I think they would automatically assume that you've been sensitized, because it would be very dangerous for them to make that mistake and to give you the blood that would cause agglutination, because that could be very dangerous. So, blood typing. Always remember, the one that matters is the receiver's antibody. If the receiver's antibody can match up to the donor's antigen, then that's going to make a problem. If the receiver does not have the antibody for the donor's antigens, then they can receive that kind of blood. All right? Ta-da! Now, if you have any questions about this, you can just leave a comment. Or if you want to know more about the immune system, I might be able to put together some stuff for the immune system. But most of the time, if you're studying anatomy and physiology, you're going to cover blood typing before the immune system. Okay, have a good day.